Good morning and welcome to the Sports Debate Podcast. I'm BA, along here with James J. Train Martin and Jack Hirsch. I hope you fellas are doing good this morning. And we debate before we even debate on this show. So here we go. First of all, let's open it up just for the playoff situation between the NBA and the NHL real quick. Yesterday there was two games. One was a game. Both of them were game sixes. The Pistons defeated the Cavaliers 115-94. The Pistons tied the series at 3 and go back to Detroit. The Spurs beat the Wolves 139-109 to close that series out. The Spurs win it 4-2. Game highs in those for the Pistons was Cade Cunningham with 21 points, 2 rebounds, 8 assists. The Cavs, James Harden, 23.7 rebounds, 4 assists, 4 steals, and 4 flops. Spurs, Stephon Castle, 32 points, 11 rebounds, 6 assists. And for the Wolves, Anthony Edwards, 24 points, 2 rebounds, and 2 assists and 3 steals in the losing cause for the Wolves. How did you guys like the games?
So what I would say, I'm going to keep it brief, but I thought the games turned out the way I thought they would. I thought the Cleveland Cavaliers and the Pistons would go game 7. I thought the Pistons were 4-7. They're just better than losing in 6. So, but in regards to the Spurs and the Minnesota Timberwolves, I'm not disappointed. I figured it would go like this. I predicted that they would go ahead and close the series out. I just think I'm disappointed in Anthony Edwards going congratulating the team in the huddle with 8 minutes left on the clock. I just thought that was a little bit different. For a superstar to be doing.
Yeah, I'd be ticked off about it, and the league should suspend them for going in another team's huddle. Suspend them for one game or something. I know there was no ill intent, but you don't do something like that. You don't go in another team's huddle at any point. That's sacred ground to them. Okay, you just
suspend him for doing that. It's just odd
that
he
did
did that.
8 minutes ago, as soon as he went in the other team's huddle,
He didn't do anything. He just went and congratulated. He wasn't going to be playing for the rest of the game.
There could have been a game ejection. But you don't do that.
Going and shaking everybody's hand, that's a game ejection, Jack. Come on.
But there's some things you don't do. I know there was
His
no
team
ill
should find
intent.
him. That's what it said.
There was no lack of support. He disrespected his own team. That means you're giving up.
I would say that, yes.
Giving up with 8 minutes to go. At the very least, his own team.
Would have to figure it out.
His own coach should have sent him to the locker room. Get out of here. You quit on us. Get out of here. You don't go. You never do that. I'd be ticked off.
He wasn't really too friendly in the post-game conference either about what they had to do to get past, San Antonio in the future or get up there.
I know we have a debate show. It's very little time in this. I just want to say Game 7 is going to be on Prime Video. There are going to be a lot of people complaining who are not going to have a chance to see this game. I happen to have Prime Video. I could catch it on my iPad. But a lot of people won't see it. Moving forward, the NBA games are going to be on NBC, ABC, so people are going to get to see it. But there's going to be a lot of angry people when they realize tomorrow night they're going to think they can watch Game 7, and they're going to see that they actually won't be able to see Game 7 between the Pistons and Cavaliers.
I mean, I got to say to those people, I understand how they feel, but they don't understand business. I mean, who do you think pays these salaries, these $300 million salaries for these players? I mean, they got to do something with it. So, I mean, it is what it is. I didn't get a chance. I don't have Prime. I just catch the highlights and watch everything else secondarily if it's not on NBC or ABC or yeah. So it's what it is. I'll get ESPN here and there, but to have all these streaming services is ridiculous. But you got to be mad at the streaming services. If you feel that bad about it, boycott.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks. Yeah. This is a debate show. Okay. I just made a comment about the streaming service. A lot of people are going to miss the game.
Yeah.
It's great that you're catching the highlights, James. Okay.
But anyway, anybody's views for Sunday's game? Who's going to win that one?
Well, we could talk about it. I guess we could talk about it tomorrow morning. I guess when we you said for Sunday's game.
Yeah,
let's talk about it tomorrow morning. Yeah.
All right. Fine. Whatever. Guys are no fun. NHL also has a playoff going on. Buffalo Sabres are taking on the Montreal Canadiens in Montreal, with the Canadiens leading 3-2. That comes on today. I think Montreal has been playing a little bit. I wouldn't be surprised if Buffalo tied the series up, but I think I got Montreal closing it out. And sorry if you hear booming in the background. It's actually storms around here. So anyway, all right.
Wow.
Anybody? Let's start getting into the good stuff here, the debate questions. All right. So first question. The NFL schedule just came out. Which team is under the most pressure to win in week 1? I'll go with Jack on this one.
Yeah, you could say they're all under pressure to win week 1. I remember years ago, many years ago, when the Washington Redskins, that was their name at the time, were the defending Super Bowl champions, and their chief rival was the Dallas Cowboys. And the Skins, as defending Super Bowl champions, had their first game at home. They wanted to send a message to the Cowboys, and they sent a message by being ahead 30-3 at halftime. Dallas came back and won the game 31-30. You'd think it was demoralizing for the Redskins that Dallas is coming up to now take over this year, as a lot of people anticipated. But before the year was out, they played again at Dallas, and Washington beat them 34-10, and then Washington went on to go to the Super Bowl. So you never know. It's true what they say about one game. But for some franchises, teams, it's a little bigger than the others. I think it's the Philadelphia Eagles here, believe it or not, because of their fan base. Their fan base is very restless. If they lose game 1 at home against the Commanders, it's going to start getting ugly. People are going to get questioned. Probably Nick Sirianni, the coach, maybe Jalen Hurts, the quarterback. I assume A.J. Brown won't be on the team at that point, so he's not going to be part of the controversy. But there's going to be unrest in Philadelphia, especially losing to a team they definitely should beat in the Washington Commanders week 1. And so I think because of the fan base involved, Philadelphia, they're going to lose some games during the year, but they can't start 0-1 losing to a division rival who they're clearly better than in week 1, and to lose to them at home. So I think Philadelphia, believe it or not, even though they're going to be clearly favored, they're under the most pressure, I think, to just get the job done and get the victory out of the way.
That's interesting. They ran across my mind when I read this question, but I didn't think that they would be under the most pressure. I think they're already they got another wide receiver. They're probably going to trade one June 1st. We'll see what happens. I saw 3 teams, and to me, like you said, division rivalry would be a big issue there. And I thought the Los Angeles Rams would probably be one going against the 49ers, even though, considering what they did in the draft, they got a quarterback. He can't play. Matthew Stafford's getting older. He's going into the final year of his season. but for me, that's not the one. The main one. The main one to me is the Kansas City Chiefs playing against the Denver Broncos. I think the Kansas City Chiefs going into that game. I don't know. We don't know if Patrick Mahomes will be ready. I don't think he'll be ready by that time. They had a decent draft. They got Kenneth Walker the third, but we don't know how all this is going to transpire. And even with Mahomes coming back, the past couple of seasons he's been playing, he hasn't been his electric self. He hasn't been his MVP self. In regards to, I mean, even though they got to a championship, but they got obliterated by the Eagles. And the wide receiver room is less than desirable. I mean, besides Rashee Rice and Xavier Worthy, there's not much depth there behind those two guys. And so I'm looking to see if they can improve that. And you have two aging superstars. You have Travis Kelce, who's probably come back for one more year. He's done after this. And then you have Chris Jones on the opposite end. But I do like what they did with their draft. They got Mansour Delane, Peter Woods. They shored up the defense, and they got R. Mason Thomas. Those are three quality draft picks in the first 2 rounds, top 100 players. And they got Emmett Johnson to be a backup as well. But I'm just not sure what's going to happen. And then, of course, your other teams in the division got better. Denver, Los Angeles Chargers. I mean, they're getting better. And then, of course, Las Vegas is on paper, they've gotten better. So we don't know how they're going to be, but you still have to compete with these teams. So you got to make a statement in this game. And their depth of the quarterback, who are they? Nico.
Are you saying the Chiefs are the ones in that game who are under the most pressure? You're not saying Denver is.
No, I'm saying the Chiefs are, yes.
But Denver has arguably the toughest schedule in football over the first 6 games or so. And
they had a tough schedule last year. But they still were good. I mean, if it wasn't for an injury, they might be in the championship. I mean, I'm just saying I believe that they are a really good team right now. I think it's more pressure on the Chiefs with them in their championship window. Has that closed? That's my question. Has the championship window closed? Yes. So that's pretty much it. And then also to top that, Andy Reid. I'm not saying he's not going anywhere, but the question still looms, and he's getting older. So you don't know if he's ready to retire or whatever. I mean, we saw with New Orleans when Drew Brees left. I mean, I think that's as long as he has a viable quarterback, I think he's going to want to stay coaching. But when Drew Brees left, the writing was on the wall for Sean Payton.
I think it's a very good choice you pick with the Chiefs because it's either they're Super Bowl contenders or maybe their window is closed. Week 1 might be a little bit revealing. I mean, there's also an honorable mention team. Maybe, believe it or not, the New England Patriots. They're going to Seattle, even though Seattle's going to be a clear favorite. If the Patriots, if they don't show up and they get beaten decisively, they're going to have some type of inferiority complex the way they lost the Super Bowl week 1 to Seattle. Deep down, they're not going to think of themselves as a true championship team if that happens. So they're under a little pressure from that perspective.
And does the off-the-field issues with Mike Vrabel mix into that as well? Not to even bring that up, but I mean, it's part of it. So.
How it might affect Mike Vrabel himself. Well, the perception, that the players are going to hear about it.
That would be on the fans. That wouldn't necessarily be him at professional level, because if he go out there and coach and all that stuff is on the side anyway. His question is not about coaching; it's about his decision making in his personal life. That's the problem. But only fans are going to have that perception, not anybody else on the field, because they are there to do work. So.
No, but what Jack just said is the distraction. Will Mike Vrabel be distracted as a coach with all the things going on? That makes sense. And that obviously your head guy is the guy that needs to be clear-headed.
Well, I mean, if the fans fans are starting to come at him, on the sidelines because they're going to Seattle. So if the fans start getting at him, you say, yeah, how's DeRossi doing? I can just see that already with the fans. But again, it's a professional thing. I don't think you'll have problems with that. But I like the concept about the Patriots getting off too. My team, that's the team I want to see. Well, actually, both of these guys, the Cowboys and the Giants. They both have, the both question marks coming into this season. Dallas got a little bit better on defense. The Giants got better on defense, and they got a new coach. These two don't want to settle to be the bottom two teams like they've been for the last couple of seasons. They want to start this season off right and get 1-0 because Philadelphia is still a moniker in that division. And if Philadelphia slips up, then somebody wants to be on their behind. So I think it's a very important game for both the Giants and the Cowboys, which Cowboys are going to the Giants there. So that'll be interesting. It'll be an interesting game. That's what I got. Anybody else? That's it. All right.
I mean, all the teams under a certain amount of pressure. We all know that. But who's under the most, week one? That's pretty debatable. I think a lot of times it's a team that's a heavy favorite. And, something about Philadelphia, it's just the fan base is overly critical. I think any other team could lose and lose badly. I don't think they'll hear it as much from their fan base as the Eagles would.
That fan base is god awful. I mean, Donovan McNabb and that Eagles team with Andy Reid went to 4 straight NFC championships and the Super Bowl, and they gave them flack for not getting to the Super Bowl. It's just god awful.
And then when they lost the Super Bowl, they gave them flack for it too. So yeah. Anyway, next question. Which player will be the bigger offseason story, LeBron James or Giannis? Go ahead, James.
Yeah, look, LeBron James his whole career has been a big offseason story. The decision when he left Cleveland, when he left Miami, came back to Cleveland, won a championship. When he left Cleveland and went to Los Angeles, those are all big, huge stories because those were huge stories when LeBron James was in his prime. LeBron James is far from his prime. So there's no way he's going to be the big story this offseason. There's no way. Giannis has to be the big story. This is the first time he'll be leaving the team that drafted him. He won a championship there. It's probably, the best player out of Milwaukee since Lou Alcindor. That's who he was when he played for them, right? And Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. So he's leaving there. Because he got him a championship too, another championship. So it'll be intriguing to find out where would he go because it's going to also involve a trade. It's going to involve a trade and it's going to involve players and picks in that trade. So and it's going to be intriguing to see where he goes. And we're talking about possibly New York, possibly maybe Houston. I think he'd be a good fit there. What if he went to Denver? Just throwing that out there. If he went to Denver to replace like a Murray or something like that, that'd be him and Jokic teamed up there. Jokic, because he can stretch the floor, so you can have still another big under the floor with Giannis, a defender. Man. Oh man. What are you guys going to do when LeBron James retires? This man is number 1 in scoring and number 5 or 4 in assists. His name is in the record books. We can say everything we want to say about it, but you're not going to have much to say about basketball when somebody like him, when Jordan left, when it was always somebody left. Victor Wembanyama is probably going to be that player, but I'm going to stay on course here. I think Giannis.
You're kind of making your point against what you were just saying, though, because you're saying if LeBron James leaves basketball, basketball won't be the same.
Well, I'm just saying that'd be the only way. But he's not going anywhere. That's not the LeBron way. LeBron's got to have the center of attention. He's got to be the center of attention. So it wouldn't be an attention grabbing situation if he left without a contract or left without a whole year of celebration or anything like that. No matter what he says, I disagree with that. It's going to happen. He is the center of attention. It's what it is. Great as a player, I love him. He yearns for attention. He's attention seeking. Well, with that being said, he's not leaving the league this year. So that's why I think so if he goes to another team, it's going to be news, but it's not going to be as big as news as Giannis. And I think, that's pretty much it in regards to that.
Well, the off-season story is going to be where each guy is going to go to or stay put. That's the off-season story. Obviously, if LeBron retires, which I doubt that he will, it's not going to be an off-season story. Okay, LeBron retired, and that's also a key difference between the two of them. LeBron's a free agent. He'll be able to go anywhere he wants, and any team will accept him as long as he's okay with the money he's paid. And LeBron already has a fortune. He could take the league minimum conceivably and go wherever he wants. And there's not one team that would turn him down. They would be doing cartwheels, any team that he would go to. Giannis is a bit more tricky because the Bucks apparently are looking to move on from him at this point. Even the owner basically said so much, but where's he going to go to? They want to accommodate the player in the sense to trade Giannis where he'd like to go to, but that's not a deal breaker for Milwaukee. I mean, Giannis might go to a non-contending team, or a good team, but non-contending. I could see him going somewhere like to the Toronto Raptors, for example, for a package that includes maybe Scotty Barnes or whatever. I could see that. I mean, that makes sense. But other teams aren't going to break up their whole team to get Giannis. I mean, maybe you get the best of both worlds. Maybe LeBron stays put and the Lakers can somehow put together a package that includes Austin Reeves, of course, and they can get Giannis. I don't think they can. I don't think Milwaukee would quite do that, but who knows? But what's the actual biggest story? LeBron. That's who more people are talking about. He's more the center stage. He's been that way his whole career. I mean, LeBron's more charismatic than Giannis is. Giannis is a great, great player. He's not charismatic. I mean, people aren't talking, who do you think Giannis is going to play for next year? The average basketball fan who cares about this stuff that we're talking about, they're more intrigued by LeBron, just this whole personality and everything. It's not what makes the most sense, James, like who could help who win the most of that. What's just going to be more of a gossip thing, more of a talking point, more of an interest point. And it's always going to be LeBron James. I mean, listen, when you see these shows like First Take with Stephen A. Smith, how often does he talk about Giannis where he might go? Hardly at all. It seems like he's talking about LeBron every other day, saying something. And that's telling in itself, with LeBron James. And he's going to be the bigger off-season story. What happens to LeBron, whether he stays put in LA or he decides he's going to go as a free agent elsewhere. And the intriguing part about it, there's a mystique involved because Savannah James, his wife, is going to have a big say in this. LeBron's going to consider his family. Does he want them to leave the LA area that they're used to living in? He's not going to do it strictly. I don't think he'll do it from a basketball perspective strictly. But if he was and San Antonio loses to OKC, what a great segue for LeBron to be a member of the San Antonio Spurs who are ready to jump up and win an NBA title next year. Imagine that, and LeBron adds to his legacy. And one last thing. LeBron is very calculating. He wants to be considered the greatest player of all time. He knows he's a little behind Jordan as far as perception goes. He knows that. And in a way, I don't think he accepts that. So I think LeBron knows his way to be considered the greatest ever. Put the records beyond reach. All the records he holds now, put it so far out there that future players aren't going to be able to catch him the way he caught, let's say, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. So and win a fifth title, get so close to Jordan that we won't hear the argument, well, he won 6 and I only won 5 because people are going to say, oh, it's only one extra title. LeBron thinks along those lines too, even though I know he has a lot of respect for Jordan.
Before you go, B, let me rebuttal. Eloquently put. I like some of the things you mentioned about LeBron James, but he's still not going to be the offseason story. The reason being is because you have a relatively young, the age gap is significantly different. And then you're right, Steve, everybody talks about LeBron James because he's an easy target. Everybody talks about him because when they talk about him, they're not talking about it more in reverence. They're talking about it more in the hater aspect, in the things. And mind you, some things LeBron James does himself that brings on those type of things. But a lot of it is just unwarranted. I mean, they didn't talk about these other greats like that. When their social media is much different now. If it was back then, they would probably talk about Jordan too. But my point in bringing that up is that Giannis is still relatively in his prime. He's still going to garner. And Giannis, let's not sugarcoat any of this. When Giannis was winning with Milwaukee, he was garnering and he was garnering a lot of conversation, just like LeBron James was too. Giannis is still that dude. He just has a really terrible team, and he had terrible coaching the latter part of his last couple of years there. And so,
changing the question, no. I'm not saying who's going to impact more.
But that's going to be the bigger story if people understand that.
Who are people going to be talking about more in the offseason? What's going to be more?
They're going to be talking about Giannis. I mean, we're talking about offseason here. We're talking about basketball moves. I think LeBron James at his age is not going to be talked about as much. I mean, he's still talked about because it's the easy target name. But when somebody we haven't seen something ever before. Giannis has never been moved, Jack. He's never been moved ever. That's going to be a huge story.
Teams are going to be able to contact LeBron. Everyone will be able to contact him. They won't be able to contact Giannis because he has a contract with the Milwaukee Bucks. There's a difference.
But the team that he goes to is going to alter the whole NBA because he's going to shift the whole NBA and how it's played because of the level of player he is, where he's at.
Who's going to have a
LeBron James
on his team? What's a bigger off-season story that people, what's going to create a bigger buzz?
I don't think LeBron James is going to create a bigger buzz at all. I think it's just going to be, if you're looking at it from that standpoint, it's going to be just gossip here and there.
But he's creating it now. Look what's going on now. LeBron's creating a much bigger buzz right now.
I'll be honest with you. I'm one of the greatest LeBron James fans, and I almost don't care where he goes right now. To be honest with you, it's not that interesting to me right now. It's not. It was interesting in 2016. It was interesting when he in 2011 when he went. It was interesting. It was totally interesting. I'm just telling you, it's not now. It doesn't move the needle for me one way or the other. So maybe I'm looking at it from my standpoint. I'm trying to see from other people's, but I don't think most people are going to be moved by that, Jack. I don't think so. I think more people are going to be moved by Giannis being moved.
I'm gonna put it to you this way. Basically, Jack had a good point too about where Giannis could go. That would be the telltale sign who gets the most play of fame in this offseason, because if Giannis goes to a team like Toronto, ain't nobody going to care about that. He's just going from a Milwaukee to a Toronto. Big deal. Now, if he goes to a LA or if he goes to a Minnesota
or New York,
this other team.
He goes to the Knicks. Yeah, and LeBron
he goes to Boston. That was another team that's been talked about he can go to. If he goes to any of those three teams, now that would be big news. Now LeBron James, what would make him big news is if he says, well, this is going to be my last year, and he says that right out front, and then he gets, he decides where he's going to go from that point. But if he just plays a year or he stays with the Lakers or goes to another team and plays a year and then retires, that's not going to be breaking. It'll be breaking news at the end of the season, but in the beginning of the season, it's not. It depends on how either one of these players approach.
That's the season. Only way I would have given it to LeBron if he says he's going to retire, and it's a bump. That's what everybody's going to be. That would trump everything. But I don't think that's going to happen.
He could go back to
Once
Cleveland.
they sign, then the equation changes. I'm thinking in terms, maybe the question wasn't stated clearly. I'm thinking in terms while they're undecided, while it's all undecided. Once they sign, the equation changes. I'll agree to that. If Giannis is traded to the Knicks, that becomes a bigger story. Giannis coming to New York, that becomes blockbuster news. And let's say LeBron stays in LA, then it's bigger news at that point, Giannis coming to the Knicks. But until it's decided, the bigger off-season story is going to be LeBron James. Once it's decided, then it changes. Okay, I'll agree with that, depending on where each guy winds up.
Again, it's a matter of optics, really. It depends on what the players want to do, too. I mean, well, Giannis is not really into that phase, what he wants to do. He might have some input where they want to trade him, where he wants to be traded to. But for the good of the Milwaukee Bucks, they got to make the best business decision they can possibly make. So if he gets traded to Toronto, is that really news? I mean, for Toronto, it might be news. But for the rest of the okay, so they're going to trade. But if he goes to New York, Boston, LA, one of those big teams, that's going to be big news. That's you're right. That's Eastern Conference change of news right there. Or if he goes to Minnesota, because if Minnesota gets him and without having to give up too much for him, oh man, Minnesota's going to be like they're going to go right at the top for next year's championship bid. So I mean, but LeBron, if he comes out and says, "Hey, I'm going to retire. I'm doing my tour," and he goes.
He doesn't want to
tour.
He's not going to. I don't think he will. He'll come back. He might stay one more year, but you never know.
Saying,
I have
Jack.
a feeling, guys. I just have a feeling he might go to Golden State. You know, because of Steph Curry, Steve Kerr's a great guy.
I thought you said he wasn't going to go to Golden State because they were too old anyway.
I don't think from a basketball perspective, but maybe he's thinking they tweak the roster. Otherwise, if it's the last year, he's thinking, we could get it done. He might feel disrespected by the Lakers. You know what I thought of a debate question, guys, and this is linked to that. Are the Lakers disrespecting LeBron? Rob Pelinka says, well, we're going to consult with Luka on our off-season moves. Why the heck are they consulting with Luka on their off-season moves?
Luka's now the face of the franchise.
Exactly. And that's disrespectful to LeBron.
I don't know. No, I think LeBron's been in the league long enough. To understand he's well the business.
Past it, yes. And if he and just to rebuttal on your
well past his prime is better than the majority of the league.
Yeah, you're right. But I will go back to your Golden State comment. If LeBron James goes to Golden State, they're going to go from Golden State to the Golden Pasture State. I mean, these boys are way too old and beyond their prime. There's nobody there. They're going to need some youth movement in there. LeBron James is not going to move the needle at all. If anything, he's going to take it back a little bit if they go there.
Well, listen. It just made a comment, Elizabeth. But Giannis is great. Don't get me wrong. But it also came out in the news with Miles Turner, the center of the Milwaukee Bucks. Came after spending all those years with the Pacers. His first year with the Bucks, he was astonished over the country club atmosphere, the way players would just show up late all the time, and he pointed to Giannis, basically. He came and went as he felt like it. That's not a good look as far as a guy grinding and wanting it so badly. It shows a lack of leadership on the part of Giannis, and we never heard that about LeBron. Oh, he's coming late. He'd come and go as he wanted. LeBron always tried to take charge of a situation to make it better. Maybe he meddled too much, LeBron. If he's guilty of anything, that would be it, interfering with coaches a little bit. But he never erred on the side of being lazy.
So LeBron. Is that true? I mean, let's get some context here.
Late all the time.
Yeah.
Why would Miles?
He's the only one saying it. He's the only one saying it. None of his other players, their teammates, have ever said that.
Come out and
I'm not saying that. But I'm just saying. And if it is true, why would I even want you as a teammate to even come out and say something? I'm pretty sure everybody's got their own skeletons. Why are you even coming out saying that? Why are you just not addressing that in the office, in the room? If you're a grown man, say that to the person's face, or say that to your coaches or whatever, and say, why is this happening here? Or if not, unceremoniously, let me get out of here.
At this point, we know Giannis is gone.
Exactly. He might have checked out. So
you're defending a guy who shows up an hour late for film sessions.
No, I'm not. What I'm saying is we don't know the full story is what I'm saying. We don't know everything that's going on in there. You're only hearing one person saying one side of everything. I like to hear a full context of this as to why it's happening. If it is happening.
Miles Turner has a good reputation in the league. He doesn't have a negative reputation. This is
I haven't heard anything. But did Giannis have this type of reputation as well? Did he have a good reputation as well? Typically, he had a good reputation as being a really good guy in regards to who he was on the court.
Giannis was giving an impression the last year too. He just didn't care that much. He wanted out.
Fair enough. Can you not see what the management and everything was doing? I mean, come on. Well, I mean, everybody has their limits, Jack. At some point, I mean, do you not give up at some point of your team's not doing everything they can?
No. Miles Turner was more critical of Doc Rivers than he was of Giannis. He wasn't trashing Giannis per se. He was trashing the lack of discipline. And even Miles Turner said, I started then coming late too, because Giannis was doing it. So I figure I'm going to do it as well. It's like follow the leader. Giannis, based on the great player he is, was the leader of that team. And the guy, if Giannis had great habits, the other guys aren't going to start coming late and being lax. They'll follow.
I will give you a great quote from a movie called Remember the Titans. Attitude reflects leadership. So to me, in regards to the coaches, the owners, everybody, it all stems from the top. So you can all see. I'm not giving Giannis a pass. If you're going to do what you're supposed to do, or you're going to work and you're going to have championship pedigree, you got to make sure you're coming in and doing what you're supposed to do. Yes. With Spider-Man, with great power comes great responsibility. You should definitely be responsible and do, but it's not that easy as well when you're in a situation that might be less than favorable in regards to functional, maybe dysfunctional. I mean, it could be, I don't know the whole situation. That's what I'm saying. It could be more than just Giannis. I'm not excluding Giannis. I'm just saying, if I'm a person, just like I didn't hear everything like you said. He said he also started coming late, but what does that say about him?
It doesn't say well on him. But if everyone's coming late, look, if you're scheduled to be at work 9 o'clock each morning, you're on time, and you see people with the same paycheck, same job, same responsibility. They're coming in at 9:45 every day. You better believe you're going to start becoming a little lax too. You're coming 9:10, 9:15, and you figure he's coming in late. I'm coming in late. I'll do my job the same way as him. The bosses aren't calling us out on it. So, I mean, it's what it is. But if they're there 9 o'clock sharp doing their job, you're not going to start marching in late. I mean, it's going to make you look really bad. And that's with Giannis. I mean,
it's based on character, though. There's a lot of people that would see that and still come in on time and still do their job the way they're supposed to be doing it, and let the crumbs fall where they may. I think Giannis in his situation, I wouldn't be following Giannis because he's already got a grudge against the organization. That's the reason why he's acting the way he is. So, I mean, for him to say that about Giannis or anybody on the team coming in late, dude, why don't you just take a page out of your own book, be a leader, and you come in on time? How about that? And don't worry about nobody else. That's the point. Right. I don't get that one either, but whatever. It is what it is. Anyway, let's get to the next question. It seems that the Los Angeles Dodgers have adapted a policy of not having Ohtani hit on the days he pitches. Do you agree with that philosophy? Go ahead, Jack.
No, I don't agree with the philosophy. They're trying to save Ohtani in a sense. Oh, he might be on the bases at the end of the inning, so he could be tired, rest, this and that. I mean, I'm an old guy. I'm out there jogging, not stopping. I'm in constant movement. And Ohtani needs his rest. I mean, I don't get this about baseball. They'll play a guy in right field instead of center field because he's doing a little less running. Well, the running's good for you. It helps you. It builds you up. It doesn't tear you down. I mean,
It puts hair on your chest, Jack.
I just don't get this. He's a ball player. Ohtani, from the time he was a little kid, and he played little league baseball. He pitched, he batted, he did everything. What is the big deal? You're taking out of the lineup a great bat in Ohtani, a great bat. So you're having him, instead of hitting, just sitting there and getting kind of cooling off between innings, and you're hurting your team a little because you're losing a lethal bat in the lineup. It just doesn't, it doesn't make sense to me at all. If you have a pitcher who can hit the way Ohtani does, one of the best hitters, obviously, in Major League Baseball, and you're keeping him in the dugout only the days he pitches, and not allowing him to hit because you want him to rest so much, I don't get it. I don't get it at all. If you asked Ohtani what he wanted to do, he'd absolutely say he wanted to hit. This is being forced on him, but he at least is going along with the team, with the manager, Dave Roberts. It's kind of like you go along with the program. You're not happy about it, but you at least understand their position, and what to do. You're kind of trained not to argue. But let the guy play. Let the Ohtani do what he wants. Ask him, does he care? If Ohtani doesn't care whether he hits or not on the days he pitches, if he says, do what you want, then fine. But if Ohtani says, I want to hit also, I want the bat in my hands, you better believe Ohtani wants to win those games he pitches. And his bat's going to help him as a pitcher. And to take it out of his hands because you feel he could rest a little more during the game. Come on. He's conditioned from when he played Little League to be an all-around player.
Okay, Jack. Ohtani, there's a bit of a complex history with Ohtani here with this team. In 2022, his numbers were close to this this is the first time this year that he's been a full-time player or two-way player since 2022 now. And his numbers are lower than what they were the past couple of seasons. And again, this is a guy that's going to be 33, I think, or he's going to be 32 coming up in July. He's going to be 32 in July. And he's got 9 homers and is averaging 270, 240. Yeah. And he's pitching. His pitching is awesome. He leads the majors in .82 ERA, completing at least 6 innings in all 7 starts. So to me, he's had 2 full seasons with the Dodgers where, I mean, he's coming off of 3 straight MVPs, and he's had 2 full seasons with the Dodgers where they've gone completely all through the regular season and to the playoffs and winning back-to-back World Series. He tried to go full-time here, and he's getting older, and it's not looking good. But although in 2022 he was a little bit younger, he was able to bounce back in that 2022 year at when he had a slump like this. So I mean, maybe he can bounce back, but just the guy where there's so many injuries with pitching and different things that could occur. Wouldn't you want to preserve a guy like this? Wouldn't you want to maybe bring him back to designated hitting? And he can pitch full time. I don't know. Maybe this is not the right answer here. Maybe he can go back to being a designated hitter. And you could.
Well, he has a DH when he doesn't pitch. He's always a DH. He never plays.
Oh, but okay, he's not a full time.
Not full time DH.
He's a full time DH. Okay, so they just took that. Gotcha. So they took that away from him right now. I think the manager's he's just curtailing it a little bit. They're trying to see where they go from here, because you got aging players. Mookie Betts is aging. Freeman, he's aging. There's a lot of guys.
Betts has been injured, and you're right, aging. Freddie Freeman's still performing though.
Yeah, exactly. But the long term. I mean, these are guys but your main star, you want to make sure that you're not overexerting. I get what you're saying. I understand the fact that you're groomed, and you do better by playing. But I mean, I don't know. I don't want to break what's not. I mean, I don't know. I think the best thing. I think the manager's doing the best thing right now in his decision, and he understands what he has in Otani, and so you want to preserve that guy. I think I don't. I agree with it. I actually.
I think I'm going to second that agreement too, because you got to remember what team this is. This is the Los Angeles freaking Dodgers. They got an all-star roster, and I think what the skipper is doing, he is out there having Otani pitch, putting somebody else in that DH position. Guess what? That somebody could be a young guy that's on the roster that they think is going to improve as the season goes on. Let's put him in a DH position, see what he can do in pressure situations, blah, blah, blah. So you're giving another batter a chance to go out there and show his stuff. And then with Otani, switching off, I think that, James, you're right into that effect that they're trying to save him a little bit too, because pitching and batting in the same game. I mean, I know it's a regular thing in a National League, obviously. Well, yeah. So, I mean, I think you're just trying to save him a little bit too. I mean, I get what you're saying too, Jack. I mean, because everybody else in the National League who's pitching is DHing as well. So you might as well go do it. You know what I'm saying? But again, I think that's based on the teams that these pitchers are on. I don't think it's the Los Angeles Dodgers, man. They're an all-star team. You can throw them out an all-star, game, and they can, field the team. But that's what I think it is right now with the Dodgers. It's not so much Otani. It's the fact that you're trying to get everybody else in there, and when he pitches, get to somebody else to bat so they can see what they're about. Because they got younger players that are coming up too. So help them out. But you got
it's an interesting question. It could have been even a debate question. I never thought of it before when James had mentioned Freddie Freeman. Freddie Freeman played 12 years for the Atlanta Braves, and they won one World Series. I believe, I'm not 100%, I believe this is his fourth year with the Dodgers. And let's say the Dodgers win the series this year, they would have three-peated. And let's say he plays, a few additional years for the Dodgers. Let's say 6-7 years, but he has a few World Series. He's going to be going into the Hall of Fame. Does he go in as a Brave or as a Dodger? Very interesting. And I know the longevity's probably going to be with the Braves. He's going to have at least a few more years, but that doesn't necessarily mean you go in, with the team you have more years with. Like, look at Reggie Jackson. He had, I think, 9 years total with the Oakland Athletics and 5 with the Yankees. And he had one extra world championship with the Athletics, yet he went in as a Yankee.
That's interesting.
Right,
just a player. Yeah, is that a player choice? Likely.
They've taken it out of the player's hands. It used to be a player choice, and Wade Boggs made a mockery of it. He played 1 year with the Tampa Bay Rays, and he went in as a Ray, which was a fiasco. He should have gone in as a Red Sox. He even played 5 years with the Yankees and had a World Series. It would have been bad had he went in as a Yankee, but at least there would have been a semblance of understanding because, 5 years, 1 World Series title, you could try to justify it, even though it wouldn't have been the right decision. Dave Winfield, he played 10 years with the Yankees. He played about a similar amount with the Padres. The Padres offered Winfield $1 million to go in as a Padre, and he took the money. But then again, Gary Carter, the Met catcher, they made him go in as a Montreal Expo. And a lot of people think of him, as, a Met on that championship team, being a team leader. So, in certain cases, you don't know. Mike Mussina, 10 years with the Orioles, 8 with the Yankees. He went in as neither. He wore like a cat, he just couldn't decide whether to go in as an Oriole or Yankee because it was so split down the middle.
That's where I would be, honestly. Honestly, what if a player has a situation where he's been with a team for a long time And optically, from the outside looking in, you would think this is a player that's going to go with that team into the Hall of Fame. But what if there's an ceremonious exit? What if the player is ripped it where he's bitter against that team and doesn't want to be in that team? Why are you going to force him to go into the Hall of Fame with a team that he doesn't like anymore? And that organization, he just had bad. I mean, I'm just saying that's a situation. That's just one example. I'm not saying that it shouldn't happen, but that's still. I mean, if you were that player, Jack, empathetically, would you want that to happen to you if you couldn't stand that team anymore? You didn't want nothing to do with that organization, and you went on to bigger and better pastures for only a couple of years, like you said, but still you wanted to be with that team or just with no team at all. Why would you be forced?
It's a tough one. It's really a tough one. I mean, especially get off on bitter terms or whatever. It's I don't know. Really.
Yeah, I mean you presented a great question. I just don't. Yeah, I don't know. Like
Freddie
Freeman, right?
He's not
no,
bitter.
no, not
he
at
had
all.
12 great years there, but somehow if the championships keep piling up with the Dodgers, he's already won 2 in a row, and he's going to turn into like an all-time Dodger favorite as well, but have, let's say, 5 less years with the Dodgers than he had with the Braves.
He's gonna lose a whole fandom in Atlanta that would never want to see him ever again in the state of Georgia. Mm-hmm. Don't cross this line, sir. I'm just gonna tell you.
You know better than I would, being from there. He really would. You mean he really would? If he
elected to go into, yes, I mean, because I think the one he got with Atlanta is probably more. I mean, he's on a team that's like, it's like joining the Empire in Star Wars. I mean,
he didn't want to leave Atlanta, but he didn't want to.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying yes. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying, but he went. It's like KD going to Golden State. It's like you of course you're going to win a championship there.
Good question for you. I mean, KD going into the Hall of Fame. If he has to pick a team, Kevin Durant, who does he go at? Which team does he go in? It's an OKC player. I think that's what they would put him in as. My opinion. You put him in as for Golden State. You had 3 years at Golden State. They won a couple of championships, but he wasn't there.
That's a great question, Jack. That's a great question. But Brooklyn, he's so mercurial.
No, Houston, I doubt it. Let's see. He still has
Phoenix. No,
not Houston. Not Phoenix. No.
Now the chapter hasn't closed. That's what I'm saying. If you,
it's close, Jack. We're on the last chapter of that book, Jack. We're pretty close to the last couple of pages of that book.
Okay, you're right. OKC or Golden State. When you put, you're in charge of the Hall of Fame. You got to make a decision now. He tells you, Durant says, I don't want to make that decision.
Probably go with Golden State in this consensus because I mean, let's
either way he's hurt it.
He couldn't beat him, so you might as well join him, kind of thing.
He's hurt himself in that regard. He's hurt himself, so it doesn't matter one way or the other. You pick OKC, and you're like, okay,
I don't think OKC fans will have a problem with that.
Okay, LeBron James, one team. Who does
Cleveland.
He go with?
Oh, Cleveland.
Okay, let's say he plays 2 more years at LA. That would give him 10 years at LA.
Yeah, but the championship that he won, his greatest championship is in Cleveland. His greatest championship is in Cleveland. And Cleveland never been, they've been the only finals they ever been to was with LeBron James, and they won one with LeBron James.
Okay. Let's say we're in charge of the Hall of Fame, but we have to make a decision, but we respect the player's request. We take it under consideration. Kawhi Leonard, a few years from now, assuming he finishes with the Clippers, comes to us and says, I want to go in as a Toronto Raptor because he had an ugly exit from the Clippers. Do we put him in based on 1 year when he won a championship?
I'm going to give him San Antonio. I'd still have to give him San Antonio.
Okay.
Yeah.
I forgot about San Antonio. Yeah.
His early years were
go to
great
somewhere
years.
where you want a champion like a Freddie Freeman. I think he'll go back. He'll go into Atlanta because he won a World Series there. That was his first World Series.
And a tough one,
like
mind you.
Sade
At
says,
that.
it's never as good as the first time. So there you go.
James, Kevin Garnett, Timberwolf or Celtic, if he had to go in as one.
He's not in yet?
He's in the Hall of Fame. I don't think basketball. Correct.
Okay, gotcha.
Same as baseball.
You're right. They just put him in. It doesn't matter. Like Vince Carter, you could never pick a team with Vince Carter because he's been everywhere. But yeah, if you had to pick for KD, I'm gonna go with the Celtics. And I like Minnesota, but I just think his greatest time was when he was with Paul Pierce and Ray Allen and Rajon Rondo. And they underperformed in some years there. I mean, even the championship they got.
Well, he was a man in Minnesota. I mean, last night when I was watching the game, I can't tell you how many Garnett jerseys I saw there.
Yeah, they love him.
Oh no,
they love him.
He was the man there. He was the man there. I agree.
So I don't know and like you said, he underperformed with the Celtics. So I would probably say if he was to retire, he would retire Wolf, not a Celtic. I mean, that's what the fans want. You know what I'm saying?
Sometimes you wonder, is it worth chasing a championship?
That's true. He did hate the owner.
Reggie Miller. He never wanted to chase a championship. He was going to finish his career with the Pacers. I don't respect Miller's person. I don't like Miller's personality, but I have so much respect for his decision and that, what he did.
You don't like this?
No. I mean, he comes off as childish too much and not in the most endearing, way with the sportsmanship and so on. Now, some people might find him funny. I don't. Part of it's mean-spirited, okay, as well, but it's hidden behind humor. Okay, but I think it's a result of immaturity, not him being a bad person in any way, just immaturity, his ways.
That's what happens when your sister's a better basketball player.
Would players be better off pulling a Reggie Miller whole career with one team, and as opposed to what Garnett did? Would Garnett have been better off never winning a championship and just being with the Wolves his whole career? That may have been a better legacy thing. Just spend your whole darn career there if they love you there and they want you there, rather than chase a title.
I'm sorry. I hate that adage. I think if I'm working in the coal mines and I have an opportunity to go to better pastures, go to Miami somewhere and work on the island. I mean, working in nice scenery and everything else. You're gonna be mad at me for taking that, wiping my brow with the coal, wiping the coal off my forehead. I'm sorry. I don't get that adage. I mean, that thought process with the whole staying in one place. I get the way people view LeBron James as the villain when he left and went to Miami, but Cleveland was one of the worst organizations for someone to be a free agent and go to. Nobody wanted to come there and play with LeBron. These other teams like New York, LA, people want to go to those places. They want to go play. That's why those teams were relevant. Boston, that's why they're relevant, because it's a big city. They can do things there. They can have their family, have nice places. Even Joakim Noah said, No.
I give LeBron a pass, and it's okay Garnett did what he did. I'm just saying, would he have been better off? Imagine he never left the Wolves. If you look at how popular he is now, he could have been elected. Well, I was going to say elected governor, but then again, they elected Jesse Ventura, so it wouldn't have been a big deal. But he would have been the most popular person ever coming out of that state. He would have been beyond legendary for the people of that state had he spent his whole career there.
I'm pretty sure like B said, they're still wearing his jersey there. He's still legendary there. I mean, don't get me wrong. He got the biggest thing he got to them was it Western Conference Finals there, and I think had they kept Stephon Marbury there, or if he wasn't a problem, they would have been great together. And I think that they probably would have gone to a championship. You can build around those two players together, but it just didn't work out.
All right. On that note, we will conclude today's Sports Debate podcast, and we'll see you next week on Saturday at 8:00 a.m. Tomorrow, catch us on the Sunday Sports Podcast at 8 a.m. with also our colleague Keith Engel. Everybody have a great day. Sayonara.